I was in, I think, an electronics shop, purchasing a transistor radio. As is the way these days, both in the brochure and the assistant congratulated me for doing this. This, of course, was ridiculous. It wasn't my birthday, I wasn't getting married, there was nothing to be congratulated about. In the case of you purchasing this video, it's an entirely different matter. You are to be congratulated because you have decided to make that step to learn an instrument. And it might possibly, as it did in my case, entirely change your life. Learning to play an instrument is hard work. If anybody tells you any different, they're wrong. However, it's also one of the most exciting and rewarding and fun things that you could ever do. Whether you want to play an instrument for your own amusement, just to play it to friends perhaps, or impress people at parties, or maybe become one of the great exponents of all time. Any of these things are now within your grasp, but you have to have a good grasp of basics. That's the basics. And that's what this video sets out to teach you. Assumes that you have no knowledge of the instrument whatsoever and are starting entirely from scratch. If you follow this video through step by step, by the time you come to the end, you will have a good working knowledge of the instrument, enabling you to decide what type or style of music you wish to play. Of course, there is no substitute for practice, that's the big key to it, and even just as soon as you get to grips with whatever instrument it is, just one note I always found when I started to play, just by getting some sort of a rhythm on one note, gets you the feel of the instrument, and then just adding something else as a simple harmony. It's such a pleasure. Start by playing the video all the way through. It will give you a good idea of the journey, that's the musical journey that you are embarking upon, and the structure of the course. You will notice the program is in sections which you can easily find. Try to complete a section and don't move on until you feel comfortable and ready. When the tutor demonstrates a piece or section, try playing along until you're happy with the way that you sound. Keep practicing. That's the essence of learning any instrument. The beauty of this way of learning is that you are in control and you can choose the time and speed at which you learn. So we have chosen one of the best around to teach you. Primarily hailed as Britain's premier ragtime guitarist, his current repertoire encompasses many different styles. Mr. John James.
Hello and welcome to the world of the guitar. Actually, the instrument embraces more musical styles than any other instrument in the world. And all the great guitarists, whether they were folk, country, blues, jazz, classical, even flamenco, all started off with the basics. They began at the beginning. And that's where we're going to start. Because no matter what style of guitar you use and you wish to play, you must have the basic principles. How to hold the guitar, what strings to use, the best position for the right hand, and where we should hold the left hand. In fact, how to make the guitar produce a great sound. So let's go now and explore this world of the guitar, and step by step we'll discover all the principles we need to play any style that you wish. Now, the history of the guitar is as intriguing as it is varied. A form of the instrument has existed for maybe 700 years and was introduced into Spain during the 12th century by the Arabs, and it was there that the modern instrument developed, with 12 frets to the body, certain woods, maybe spruce on the top, mahogany or rosewood back and sides, giving a very rich sounding bass note, and a treble sound softer than a steel string. Antonio de Torres Jurado, wonderful name for Spain's greatest guitar builder, or luthier, he designed the basic principles of this instrument, which still are adhered to today. And his fellow countryman Tarrega developed a way of playing, the hand positions, and the way to strike a string. Segovia, another Spaniard, took the playing and the guitar and popularized it all over the world. But the steel string guitar, that was developed in America, even though it too had its origins in Europe. A German immigrant family, Martin, settled in Nazareth, Pennsylvania in 1839, and they changed the structure of the guitar. Because with these big bronze or brass steel strings, there's so much stress on the guitar, they had to change the construction inside, put cross bracing, a steel rod inside the neck, a pinned bridge, 14 frets to the body. Big favorite with blues singers or folk singers. But of course other companies such as Gibson and Epiphone also helped to develop the steel string guitar. But Gibson and Epiphone were also instrumental, pardon the pun, in developing this wonderful cello-bodied guitar. Originally designed as a dance band guitar to play acoustically, they put on two big pickups here with magnets in them, pickup switch, tone and volume controls to get this lovely soft sound we associate today, I suppose, with jazz. In fact, this guitar is a big favorite with jazz players. But of course today the most popular guitar, the biggest selling, is the solid-bodied electric. And the solid body made of one piece of wood, or maybe laminated, or have to stand up to play this one, usually with a strap, and we'll play it with a little plectrum. Cutaway is the most notable feature, so you can go right up there and play that dusty fret. Again, tone and volume controls, magnetic pickups that magnetize the strings, sending the signal down the wire to the amplifier. The guitar was developed in the 1930s, 1940s in America by Adolf Rickenbacker, Paul Bigsby, Leo Fender and his mate Doc Kaufman, and of course the most famous of all, Les Paul. But this is more the kind of thing you'll hear on the solid body these days. Very light strings, so you can bend them. Solid body electric. Okay, back to the basics. Let's begin at the beginning. The parts of the guitar. This is the head, the tuning pegs, the nut, the neck, and the fingerboard. And on the fingerboard you have the frets. The strings, of course. The top or the front of the guitar with a scratch plate that some guitars have. The bridge, the saddle, which the strings rest on, the bridge pins that hold the strings in, and of course, the sound hole. Okay, well, we've learned a little bit about the history of the guitar, and we know all the names of the parts. Now let's get on to holding the instrument. Sit in a chair, preferably one without any arms, and rest the guitar, the curve of the waist of the guitar, on your right thigh, just above the knee. You might find it easier to cross your legs and support the guitar like that. Some people rest the guitar on their left leg, more of the classical way of playing. But for now, we'll put it on the right one, cross-legged, supported there. Now the right arm falls over the guitar from the top of the body, the highest point of the guitar, just behind the elbow, and leave the hand fall down nicely over the sound hole of the instrument. So you've got a very good, you've got support of the guitar and a lot of freedom when we get on to playing the strings. The neck sticks out on the left-hand side. Of course, if you're left-handed, right as left and think left as right. And the left hand, the thumb should press on the fingerboard of the guitar, just not too far over, don't let it do that, or hang down too low. Middle, so we say upper center. Press into the fingerboard of the guitar. Now the fingers should come over perpendicular as possible to the fingerboard, and the wrist, drop it down. The further the wrist is lowered, the easier it is to get pressure on those strings with those fingers over. Now the thumb and fingers form like a clamp, if you like, it should be a vice-like grip on the fingerboard that really holds the whole thing in position, enabling us to play all those chords and fast runs we're going to learn pretty soon. Okay, now we come to the playing of the guitar. I like to start at the beginning, the right hand and the thumb. Now to strike the strings with the thumb, rest the fleshy part of the thumb against the sixth string, that's the one nearest to you, the thickest one, and just when you're with your arm in that proper position I showed you before, we're just falling over by the sound hole, let it just push its way through the string, so that it falls and rests against the next string. Don't try and push it through, don't move the hand, just let it fall, working from the ball joint of the thumb like that. So it goes through from the sixth to the fifth string. Let it go through to the fourth string and all through the strings of the guitar. Fleshy part of the thumb resting on the string. Push the thumb through the string and clipping it with the thumbnail there. You see I've got a bit of nail grown there. Just to clip the string, gives it a bit of tone as you go through the string. the thumb well bent. Don't play and pick it like this. Keep the thumb bent backwards and work as one solid action from the ball joint right through the strings. Then try brushing all of them downwards from the 6th to the top string, that's the thinnest one, the one furthest away from you. Brush through. Just turn the wrist slightly. Allow it to fall. Very relaxed. It should be very, very relaxed. Now if you're using steel strings like I am here and you find that's a bit, well, it hurts your thumb a little, you can also use a plectrum. Now position a plectrum on the first finger, curl it round as such, depress it with a thumb, hold it very firmly in position, sort of wiggle it around so it feels comfortable. And the action you're going to use is very similar to the thumb, but instead of working from the ball joint of the thumb, you're working out from the wrist. And the forearm should turn a little as well. So rest the plectrum on the string and push it through. The same way that you would with the thumb. Don't forget, rest it on the finger, close it up, and have a nice... You can in fact just use it maybe first finger and thumb, or maybe some people even use it with a second finger and thumb and play thus. But maybe it's best for now, start with the first finger, holding the plectrum like so, and brush it lightly across the strings, nice and firm. Okay, now let's look at the left hand. Same position as before, the thumb just at the back of the neck, not too far over, not too far down, the wrist well forward, fingers nice and perpendicular. Now, first finger on the first string, that's the thinnest one, just behind the fret. Thumb, fleshy part against the string, and push the thumb through the string. So you get a very nice solid sound. If you hear this noise, you've come too far over the fret. And if it's too far down the fret near the nut, you'll get this, which we don't want to hear. So finger just behind the fret, thumb, back of the neck, drop the wrist well forward. There's plenty of pressure there when you have those fingers coming right round to the neck. Second finger waiting to go down on the first string, second fret. And you can release the first finger as you strike the string. And go back again to the first finger. Second finger. Back to the first finger. Now practice that till they sound nice and clean and not or but. And then the third finger behind the third fret, first string. Still push the thumb through the string nice and bold and go back down again. Now an ideal exercise for learning how to fret is by going from the first fret, second fret and third fret on every string, working back and forth. I'll start with the sixth string and go through to the first string. Plenty of pressure from the fingers pressing down on the strings, the thumb pushing through, fleshy part, striking it nice and solid right through. Let me just show you that with the plectrum as well. Almost hitting the strings rather than pushing it through too loose. If it goes too loose, you get a very weak sound. Hold the plectrum firm and strike it through. Using down strokes all the time. Every note clean. Okay, So that's the basic exercise on striking the string with the right hand, fretting with the left hand. Well, before we get on to actually playing the guitar, we've got to, of course, tune it. There's just one more step we have to take before we play the guitar, and that's to tune it. The guitar is best tuned to concert pitch. The strings all have designated note names.